brought to you by Mint Mobile. Stay tuned for a special offer at the end of the show. Hi, and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Jouar, and today is Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, and I'm here with the excellent Matt Swider of The Shortcut. Hi, Matt.
Great to be here with you, Miriam.
First in-person podcast.
This is exciting.
Listen, there's quite a bit of stuff happening. Some of it is a little murky. Like, we're actually here. I'm in New York with you, which is why we're doing it in person, because there's an ASUS event we're going right after this. And we know kind of what to expect. There's some stuff we can talk about, but we're not going to be able to give you like first impressions yet about the stuff we're going to see. So we're going to talk about that. I want to talk with you about the Meta Ray-Ban display glasses.
Yes, I tried them out.
You tried them, okay.
Yes.
And then I want to talk with you about, the other thing was Pixel 10 Pro Fold, which is in this very bulky case. I mean, look, I like to protect my phones when I review them, at least until I get all the photos and everything done.
Smart.
Yeah, this is UAG. I want to thank them. They always send me lots of great cases. It's not really my thing, the rugged case thing, but hey, if you're going to protect a phone for review,
right.
Thanks, UAG. Awesome.
I'm going caseless right now.
Oh my God, you're crazy.
So I need some recommendations.
Mine is actually the green one, which unfortunately you can't really tell. Green and gold.
Nice.
You know, you can kind of tell. I don't know. So there's that. And then this Pixel Watch 4, which I'm wearing. I don't know if you're wearing. No, you're wearing it.
I'm not wearing it yet.
So I have some thoughts about that. And then we've got to talk about the Google Gemini for home stuff. Because I'm really scared about this. This is the beginning of the robots taking over until Google forgets about it and abandons it, which is invariably.
It's only a couple weeks from now.
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to chat with you about is the Amazon stuff, because you're very excited about the new Kindle.
Yes.
And because you're a Kindle guy. And I'm like, I want to hear about this because I don't, like, I get it, but I don't get it. And then let's see what else. Some PSA, some more leaks and rumors about the OnePlus and Realme Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 phones. Of course, they're coming. I'm pretty sure I'm getting the Realme like next week or something.
Nice.
So stay tuned for that. But start maybe with the ASUS stuff.
Yeah.
The Ally, explain to me, okay, like I know what the Ally is.
Sure.
Like it's a Windows-based gaming handheld, right? Like there is also Lenovo has them and stuff. But like explain the Xbox part, because like I'm like, is this actually our Xbox console?
It kind of is. The one word that you said that is touchy for gamers everywhere in the PC gaming handheld space is Windows. Windows does not conform very well in the handheld space.
But with Steam, isn't that being kind of resolved essentially?
A little bit, but you still have to go through Windows for something that's not native Steam. So like the Steam Deck or the Lenovo Legion Go S, right? Those two products do a really good job with their interface and, you know, kind of skipping over Windows. But there's still a lot to go through with some of these early PC gaming handhelds that run Windows natively.
So this is the contention with the gamers. They want to go right in their games. They want to be in Steam or on Xbox Live.
And not to have to install a lot of things, which happens every single time, even though they try to, you know, make Windows more accessible, it's not.
So even though we can't tell you about our experience because we haven't done it yet with the Ally X series, we can talk about the specs. We can talk about everything else.
And Kevin got to, you know, my colleague got to try it at Gamescom. So there is hands-on experiences out there, and we can kind of talk about that.
Okay, cool. So what's different? First of all, not the hardware, but like in terms of like experience, like right now when you boot up an Ally, you're in Windows, you got to go through the file system and run your apps, or maybe you have them in the dock, whatever the dock is called in Windows.
Yeah.
And then off you go, right?
Sure.
That's what I assume. And most of it is probably just starting up Steam for most people, right?
Yes.
And then what is it going to be like on this Xbox edition?
So it feels like you're booting up your Xbox and you're going right into your dashboard and playing games.
But it's Windows underneath, right?
I mean, there is Windows underneath, but you don't have to kind of
you will never
go
see
through
it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to see it.
You can't run Windows stuff on it.
I don't know if you can or can't, but
the shell or something?
I don't know if you can or can't, but I'm sure that someone's, you know, going to be able to do that. But for the average gamer that is picking this up for either $5.99 or $9.99, it's a little expensive at the top end. They're gonna have this experience where it's just like booting up your Xbox home console. So that's
because I'm wondering, like, if I'm spending that kind of money, I understand, like, I get it. The point is to pull this out of your bag on a plane and play games. But come on, at that price, it'd be nice to be able to run maybe some Windows stuff. Like, wouldn't it be cool to run Audacity, like what's recording right now for us? Like stuff like that. It'd be nice, right?
I agree. I think what they're driving after is the big juggernaut in the industry. It's Nintendo.
Right.
You pull out your Nintendo.
I thought you were going to say PlayStation. No, because I'm still dreaming. I'm still dreaming of PlayStation Portable here.
I know. One of the top things that the shortcut ranks for is PSP2. It's a big rumors hub, and increasingly every week there's some sort of rumor that a PlayStation Portable 2 will launch.
Look, big disclaimer. I was a game developer for many years, and I love all platforms equally, but I do love one more than others. I know I'm contradicting myself. Look, I worked at Sony Computer Entertainment of America in the heyday of the PlayStation Portable and the PlayStation Portable Vita, the PSP Vita, and of course PS3, but that's a console. That doesn't really matter. But I love the portables.
It's great.
And I'm old, and even though I totally understand the world we live in, and I stream all my music and everything, UMDs. Come on, there was something about the UMD. That stupid, crazy, like Sony, I love how they created all these bespoke, like they were nuts. And I know it really wasn't good for them because of that, they had 8-track versus MP3 and like their network Walkman or whatever, their solid state and hard drive players were a pain in the butt because they're software stack. Like, I don't know. There is this really great mailing list you should join, which is called Obsolete Sony.
Oh, I've seen that.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I actually pay for it.
Yeah.
It's so good because like I've always been a Sony fangirl. And any company that makes good design stuff like Apple, like I might not necessarily have all their products, but I'm invested in their stuff. And when I landed a job at Sony, at the time I was very ambivalent. I was like, as a developer, I prefer coding on Xbox. I really did. I preferred to some extent Nintendo, even though they kept you really, really tight on rails as a developer. I did prefer working on, back then it was the Wii and the GameCube.
Yes.
Never worked on the portable, so I don't know. Like in terms of like the experience of playing the games, I always liked the PlayStation better.
That was, your era at Sony was like their hits era of like Uncharted coming out and stuff like that. Those are great games. And to be able to get that library on a portable console is what people want. And like same thing with Xbox fans. They want true Halo. They you can boot that up in Steam and have it on like a Steam Deck and everything. But having a native Xbox console is where it's at.
I also got to see the birth of whatever that thing was called, the wand thing with the round ping pong
Move?
ball. The Move. Yeah. Oh my God, that thing.
That's fun.
Like,
they had a whole bow and arrow.
I have to tell you guys, because this is a fun anecdote. Like we worked, I was at, the main headquarters of the gaming for Sony in the US, right? In Redwood City, like in the Bay Area. And so we were like the first line of talking to developers. I was actually support developer evangelist. So my work was helping developers make games. But we had to constantly fight. And I'm not saying fight in like an antagonistic way, but like work closely with Japan. And they were very, very, they had a very clear idea what they wanted. But it didn't match at all what the developers in North America and Europe wanted. And so we worked closely with the UK team on SCE, which is a European branch. And it was always a battle, but it was worth it because their ideas were actually really sound. It's just that we needed to tweak them to make them more developer friendly.
Always, yeah.
But they had a vision, and judging by the success of the PlayStation as a platform in general, I think they nailed it.
Yeah. And I think we'll see one in the next year just because the PC gaming handheld space is heating up so much that Sony's got to be looking at that and said, we dominated that market a decade and a half ago.
I know, but it's the same problem as, mini disc, for example. I mean, I'm a huge mini disc fan. I still have equipment and content, but like, it's that problem where they were never able to pivot away from the physical media, which they needed to do. It doesn't mean you couldn't have physical media, at least at that time frame, but make it more open, make it more compatible with things. You know? And they never did that. The really only time they really did a compatible format was the original PlayStation, maybe PlayStation 2, where it was DVD based, right?
Right.
Like it was copy protected, but it was a standard. They didn't kind of create a new disc, which I in a way though, UMD, man. I love UMD.
I remember spinning a little thing inside.
I have an anecdote again. When I worked on one of the launch titles on PSP.
Oh yeah.
It was the Tony Hawk Underground Remix 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we were given, at the time I worked for an Activision studio in San Francisco called Shaba Games. And we were given like 6 months or 3 months to port the PS2 version to PSP for launch. They're like, if you finish this on time and it works, you all get a 10K bonus. It was very motivating. I got my 10K bonus.
Good.
But my job was to make the audio work. And because we were playing, it was less memory, less storage, it was very challenging. But one of the things I found that was incredibly, like, as a nerd, really like made me so happy was the UMD never spun continuous.
Right.
The UMD would resort on its inertia to keep the disc spinning.
That's it.
So to save battery, the motor would go like peak out like a bit of current to like get the motor spinning again to speed up the UMD so that for the next 5 seconds it's slowing down and spinning up on its inertia. Then spin it up again. And then because of that, it was only drawing current from the battery every 5 seconds or so.
I did not know this.
At initial spin, it had to like go for 5, like a continuous amount. That would use up a lot of juice.
And you could probably hear that as well.
Yeah, and you could put it to your, like if you have one, put it to your ear, play a game, and you'll see at the beginning it goes. And then as you're playing the game, it's like, beep, beep. It's amazing. But the challenge for that was that you don't have to manage that as a game developer, but from an engineering perspective, they had to buffer the data at varying speeds, right? Because the speed would slow down on the disk. So I don't know how they did that, but I think the technology came from Minidisc that does the same thing. So there's a lot of crossover, like in Sony, even though the divisions were very insular and kind of like, in their own lanes, they did share stuff like when they had to.
Right, yeah.
And I like that this newsletter, Obsolete Sony talks about some of these when the streams crossed and things happened that were amazing.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Anyway, back to the Ally. Sorry, this was a great aside. There's probably maybe extra content for our Patreons. Patreon.com/TNKGRL for a video version of the podcast. Every week, a day in advance for $5 a month. Please support me if you can. So, Ally X, so you boot into an Xbox-like interface, and then is it actual Xbox games or is it actual like PC games?
You can play your Xbox games. I think the killer feature is the Z2 Extreme, right? It's AMD's latest chipset in the Ryzen line.
Is it on both?
It is not on both. That's a differentiator. They both have a 7-inch screen.
Okay.
But
OLED or LCD? Do we know?
I have to fact check that. But it's 120 hertz.
Okay.
Yeah, so Windows 11.
Probably IPS.
Yeah, it would say OLED if
because it's hard to do 120 hertz OLED on gaming.
Right, even at $999.
Tears and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then in terms of RAM and storage, is it similar to the regular Ally, or like do they whittle it down a bit, or what? Do we know? Do you have specs on that?
Yeah, I do. It is 16 gigs of RAM.
I love that you were so prepared. This is amazing.
That's the ideal of the shortcut. I have the shortcut skinny at the top, and
I actually linked to that.
Yeah, thank you.
It'll be in the show notes, guys.
Yeah. So October 16th is the release date.
Right.
So
pre-orders went up when?
Pre-orders went up when we were in Hawaii. Right.
20 something.
Yes, and that actually they said it sold out. I think it sold out from their allotment that was on sale at the Microsoft Store. It is available still to purchase at Best Buy. Okay. So their proclamation that we sold out.
Online on it?
I haven't checked ASUS, but the fact that they said they sold out was a little bit of marketing spin, but good for them.
But you know what? I think that you guys are going to chase all the deals on that, right? So like theshortcut.com.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know about The Shortcut and you're a gamer, like please. Where have you been? Get out of your mom's basement.
Especially with grass. Especially with Black Friday coming up. That's going to be
it's going to be huge. Yeah. So, subscribe to the newsletter and all the good stuff.
Thank you.
You can get all the good stuff. Okay. So, all right. So, 7-inch screen is that. Did they change anything from the regular Ally in terms of hardware? It's a new chip, obviously. So, it's better product. It's a newer product. Right?
Newer product. And I would say the big differentiator in terms of like the hardware and the feel is that the controller almost has handles on it like you would a console controller.
Is
right?
it permanently attached?
It's permanently attached. It's more akin to if you ever played the PlayStation Portal.
The Portal.
The Portal, the one that...
The projector, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like Android Auto or CarPlay, but for your video games.
Yeah. It's a streaming device. Yeah. So it's not like, let's take it out of the home. You would need really strong Wi-Fi to pull that off, and sometimes it's finicky even after that. So it's like that in that it has almost a controller on either side. Like it has the grips.
So the original Ally and Ally S don't have that.
They're don't have that. Yeah.
So you can use
they're not, those aren't detachable. Only like Lenovo has gone with detachable. They're less grippy, almost like a Steam Deck where it just arounds, you know.
Like PlayStation Portable used to be more.
Yes. Yes, 100% like
bigger.
that. Yes.
And then the Ally, remind me, the Ally came out first, the Ally S. Is the Ally S better, or is it a lower end model?
The Ally S is a lower end model.
More affordable.
Yeah. And I feel like they're throwing a lot of things out there. The Ally X is like the premier.
Oh, so there's an X as well.
Yeah, the X is the premier model. And Lenovo's part of that, trying to get in with their the Legion line. Legion Go and
Go 2 now.
Go 2 and the Go S, which is their Steam OS version.
All right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of competition. So I'm looking at Sony going, they've got to want to enter this market.
I mean, on one hand, you've got Nintendo doing incredible things, right? And then you have this entire Windows, Xbox, Steam world of, it's actually x86 powered machines. So you've got ARM on one hand. I kind of feel like Sony needs to do an ARM machine.
Yeah. That
would be my dream, because, oh my God, we were so, like when the PlayStation Portable came out, it was ARM, and I was like, I mean, it was Risk, but, close enough.
Yeah.
It was an x86. And so, or MIPS? I can't remember what it was. But the point is, we were closely on the PlayStation phone, the Xperia Play or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was our first proper ARM thing. And it was like, I was like so in love with ARM. And I still am, because I think ARM rules the world. In case you haven't noticed, everything out there is ARM. Everything that matters is ARM. x86, go away. I don't know. I feel like, honestly, I want the gaming world to finally get to the point where ARM is so good that they don't need to go x86 anymore.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean Intel shouldn't make, I've always said this for years, they made a tragic mistake in selling Xscale. They should have stuck with ARM, at least as a subcategory of like microcontrol products, whatever. And I think, obviously clearly AMD can make ARM chips. That's not a problem. So
yeah,
let's get going with some ARM gaming chips that are, and don't worry, the developers will adapt. That's not hard. We can figure it out.
It's shocking that Intel has ceded all that ground. I own like a Dell tablet that has Intel inside of it from like 10 years ago. So yeah, ARM is definitely ruling the world in terms of anything that's portable.
Yeah, and so I think that, I'm hoping that Sony's looking at this going, let's make, PSP Vita 2 or PSP 2 or whatever that is, at least like close in performance to those handhelds that are, Windows, Steam, Xbox based, but maybe more integrated, kind of more like the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, give me Uncharted Mobile, and I will buy that on day one. So they have the IP. That's the thing. And I said the same thing about the PlayStation VR 2, which has kind of been a flop. So it's Sony's headset, virtual reality headset.
Well, we're not there yet.
And yeah, but I said this could be really good versus a lot of the other stuff, because Meta really doesn't have the library. Sony has the library, but all they came out with was like a Gran Turismo mode and it's like, that's not what I want. I want Uncharted, I want God of War, and I want like your back catalog.
I want Wipeout 2025.
That would look great in a VR headset, but they just really haven't applied the library to any new hardware besides their main console, and I think that's the biggest mistake.
I want Wipeout, and I want like Tomb Raider. I want to go back to PlayStation 1 games, but with today's graphics.
Yes.
On a portable device.
That would be great. Yeah.
You know, like basically what
Nintendo's doing it well.
Exactly. It's like, you know, you took all the franchise of Mario and all that and made them modern, and then made them run on ARM-based, you know, OLED. I mean, I know the latest doesn't have OLED, but whatever.
It'll have that in 2 years.
It'll eventually happen. Yeah, because that's how they're going to milk us for another.
And I will buy it.
What, 500 or 600 bucks.
It'll work.
Okay, so, you know, I like that they're doing this Xbox thing. I'm glad. I mean, I'm happy. I'd be happy if you could still use it as a PC, because if we're gonna have that x86 legacy, we might as well use it for other stuff.
Yeah. The biggest gripe is the name. Officially, the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X it's a little cumbersome, but
well, ASUS ROG is a little cumbersome.
Yeah.
I think they should just go with ROG.
Yeah. Sometimes in some of the phrasing, that's just ROG. They cut off ASUS. But yeah, the other thing is it's $999. A lot of people were predicting that it would be $899.
That's with the better Ryzen chip.
Yes,
right?
that's like the
other
top
one
tier.
is an older Ryzen chip.
It's the lower powered one. That's like it's $599.
That's a little bit more palatable, I think.
Yeah.
And the same display, huh?
Oh, it has the Ryzen Z2A chip. So not the Z2 AI chip Extreme.
Cool.
Yeah. And that one's $599. But people were predicting that the top tier one would be $899, and they were scoffing at that price. And they didn't tell us the price until pre-orders went live.
They raised them by $100, right?
Yes.
Well, that's
what is happening to all tech
except
right now.
for the iPhones and the Pixels, which was surprising.
Right.
And even I guess the Z Fold 7 is more expensive.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
But it's worth, I think it's, you know.
It's the
sexiness.
It's a great device. And that's where I think they were falling behind what Google Pixel Fold put out there.
We can switch to that conversation, but let's wrap up quickly.
Yes.
What are you most excited about the Allies before we jump into the folding?
I think having...
Because, you know, you're more of a gamer than me.
Yeah.
So
I think having a first party, which is Xbox involved, like a console maker.
Microsoft involved.
Yeah, Microsoft's involved. That's a really good thing. I know Xbox, you know, their hardware situation's it's a little weird because it looks like they're going third party to a lot of people, which is odd. So they're just going to be a software maker and sometimes come out with a console. But the fact that they're investing money into the space means that, okay, ASUS and Lenovo, they were onto something. All these PC gaming handheld makers, it kind of legitimizes. It's like when Apple gets into a market after Samsung and a bunch of Chinese manufacturers have been doing it for years on any given product. It's like, oh, now it feels a little more legitimate, and all of a sudden new accessories come out. It makes the product space a little bit better.
I'm excited because it's ASUS and they make really great product.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lenovo does too, to be fair. I'm a big fan of both those brands.
Yeah.
But also, as you said, Microsoft now essentially has a portable console.
We've been waiting for this, first ever.
And I knew they couldn't do it in-house because, you know, like who would buy a Surface Xbox or whatever you want to call that? But like, I think they're clearly their hardware, you know, they got kind of beaten down with, you know, the foldy, like the phone that wasn't
the Duo.
a phone, the Duo. Thank you. But I also feel like, you know, having a partner like ASUS or Lenovo, whatever, to get this done is a good idea. And I'm excited about that. But I'm mostly excited about the fact that hopefully this is like Chrome OS, which is a Linux-based OS, that this is Windows-based, but you will never have to deal with updates or anything. Like it'll do it for you in the background, manage it all. And you won't have to worry about that crap. You know, every now and then it'll say, hey, this is an update. And then you'll say, okay, I want to do it now. And you'll do it. And it'll take probably a little longer than, you know, but probably less hassle than Windows updates.
That's the biggest gripe with opening up a Windows laptop. And it's like installing all these updates and then installing other updates that it couldn't install the first time. I'm like, why don't you just do this seamlessly? I
brought my ASUS A14. You see it back there behind my MacBook that's recording audio right now. And I brought it to finish my Pixel review. And I love writing on that thing, but like I hadn't used it in like, I don't know, a month. And I was like, literally, I spent 2 hours last night on Windows updates and updating my web browser. And like, it was like, what the,
Yep, that's the worst part.
To be fair, I have to update the web browsers on my Mac because I don't use Safari. But I feel like the update process is still really clunky in Windows.
Oh
like,
yeah, it doesn't happen enough in the background.
Seamless, yeah. I think that there's no reason why it should be the way it is. Like, they could, like, I think by now, I mean, it's a big improvement from previous Windows on 11, to be honest. But anyway, so we talked about the Z Fold 7, and you know, this is the Pixel. You know, you might want to show yours as well because yours is not in a case.
I know.
I've got the greenish one, the Jade, and you have
the Moonstone. Moonstone, that's it.
So you've probably noticed, like, from us holding them up, that they're pretty much exactly the same as last year's. And there are some differences. The SIM tray, there's a SIM tray. Hey, no only SIM like the other Pixels, at least in the US. Because in the rest of the world, I haven't actually Pixel 10 Pro XL in my pocket with a SIM tray because it's Canadian one.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't care about
millimeter. It's a rare,
wave, and man, it's so nice. But this has a SIM tray, any SIM, and so that's good. But the SIM trays now are being relocated from the bottom to the top, and then microphones and speakers have been rearranged a little bit in the chassis. But essentially, it's the same. And it's a little thicker, actually. And the reason for that is Qi 2 magnets, MagSafe, Pixel Snap. This is the best thing ever.
It is so great. And people don't realize how important it is, not just for charging and battery accessories, but like microphone stands where, you know, you have a MagSafe microphone or a MagSafe camera stand for your phone. I use that all the time. Can't use it on most Androids, but I can with this Pixel, which is very nice.
Well, the thing about the Pixel is this Pixel 10 Pro Fold specifically is I gave it an editor's choice last year on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And the reason I did that is because it combined the form factor, the premium, the thinness, lightweightness at the time of what we had experienced with the Open, which compared to what Samsung was doing with Z Fold 6, 5, 4 was such an improvement in form factor.
Yes.
It combined that with that amazing Pixel experience.
Right. Samsung fell behind.
Yes. And so I had to do that because I'm like, I love the Open. I used it for a year. OnePlus is, at the time, we didn't know if they were going to come out with something else. So I was like, okay, yes, you take a bit of a, dump in terms of like performance because of the G4 last year compared to the Snapdragons. But, you get that Pixel experience. And this year, the tables have turned around so much. It's insane, right? First of all, we didn't get a OnePlus Open 2. We got an Oppo Find N5, which I've been using pretty much continuously for 7 months now. And it's the same thickness as the Z Fold 7, the same form factor, super thin, super light. And it's amazing. It has better cameras than the Samsung, better multitasking, better battery because it's silicon carbon, faster charging, all that stuff. So, but you can't get it officially here. Yes, it supports the bands, etc., but it's a global phone. You have to import it. So I've been used to that size. And then the Z Fold 7 came out. And the Z Fold 7 is the most attainable version of what China is making in terms of folding phones, which is state of the art. Finally, Samsung made some compromise. The telephoto's crap. The battery life is not great because of no silicon carbon because they're still traumatized by the Note 7. Fair. Point is, you then give us this, Google, right? And it's the same form factor as last year, and it feels ancient.
It does.
It's like
Samsung leapfrogged them.
It's hard to explain how clunky and chunky this feels, especially in this UAG case, compared to the Z Fold 7. And it's improved in many ways. It's small improvements, like the G5 chip is much better. You've got much, faster charging, bigger battery. Like instead of 4,600, it's 5,000 milliamp hours roughly. And instead of like 21 watt, it's 30 watt charging. Instead of 7.5 watt wireless, it's 15 watt wireless. There's all kinds of improvements here overall. Bigger front screen by 0.1 inches, but it's still LTPS. Weird. When the rest of everyone else, Magic V5 and everyone is doing LTPO inside and out now. Like stuff like that, right? And so it is improved. and it still gives you that awesome pixel experience. But the cameras are identical. And in fact, they're worse now on paper than the base Pixel 10.
That's true.
By a little bit. Just the ultra wide is a little better on the Pixel 10. But it's like, and that's when you're like, the price is the same, kudos. But I'm like, how can you recommend this phone even though the pixel experience is so good when the Z Fold 7 exists? Yes, it's more expensive, but like it's a no-brainer.
Right.
And I can't give it the same like grade basically as
I'm in the same boat.
So frustrating because
I
love it.
Very similarly, I gave it an Editor's Choice Award. We rate things out of 5. It was 5 out of 5 last year, right? And it was amazing. And then because the Samsung had the smaller form factor, it wasn't as wide, right? Their screens.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem.
That was their biggest problem. And not only have they made it wider in like the proper, almost passport-like dimensions to catch up to what Google has been doing and is doing still. Samsung made their phone thinner, and then this one just feels like the same thing all over again. And I'm like, Samsung made those advancements, and this one has not changed enough. So, I can't give it that same high score. And it's a weird position to be in because it was so good last year, and times have changed in the foldable phone market.
Like, I'm going to give it a 4 this year because it's still like, if you want the pixel experience, basically you have two choices right now for a folding phone in the US or North America. That's it and the Z Fold 7. So that's why I want to give it a 4 because it's still a solid option. I'm taking off this case.
It's a great phone. It's just there are greater phones out there that fold.
And unfortunately, really the best ones you have to import.
Yes.
But yeah, look, this is what the jade color looks like. It's very pretty.
I like that.
I like the looks of this phone, especially in a lighter color, because last year they gave me the black one.
Right. It doesn't show up well in photos when it's...
And it's matte in the back, matte glass, and matte gold-ish frame on this, which is great. And I mean, it's a nice phone. There's no doubt about it. But you put it side by side. I have a photo. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Where I took put them on a table edge, and I have the Z Fold next to it, and it's like, oh no, oh no, it's so bad. And look, you're gonna say, who cares? Like, it's slightly bulkier. No, you don't understand. Once you've lived with these thin phones, once you've had a folding book style phone that's literally the same thickness as a 17 Pro Max, right? Like, this is bulky in comparison. This is more like that with a case.
Yes, right? It feels like I don't really care about thinness necessarily. The iPhone Air, it's nice. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge, nice. But when it folds in half and becomes double the thickness in your pocket, then thinness starts to matter. And
weight, it's literally like 40 grams heavier than the Z Fold 7 and those Chinese phones. And so you feel it in your pocket. I personally, again, don't mind so much of these things. My biggest gripe, is that this is not a Gen 3 product. Samsung finally, I felt like Samsung was doing the same, like minor iterations. And the Z Fold 7 is like a radical departure in the right direction based on what China is doing.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that Google does the same next year, but this is literally a Gen 2.1, 2.2.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, and there's nothing wrong per se in the vacuum, but the vacuum doesn't exist. We have the Z Fold 7, we have the Oppo Find N5, we have the Magic V5 from Honor. Those are the defining folding phones right now. And this just doesn't, it's not in the same league. It's just not it doesn't play by the same rules anymore.
I think the buyer for this phone, and the point I am making in my review, is it's someone who is tied to the Pixel lineup. They want a Pixel. They had either the Pixel Fold 1, like the first one that came out, which...
Then it's a great upgrade.
Right. Then it's like, oh yeah, you wouldn't upgrade to the 2 or the 9 Pro Fold. You would upgrade to the 10 Pro Fold because it's a great phone if you're wedded to the Pixel lineup, because some people love Pixel so much.
I get that.
And then that's for you. But beyond that, like, scope, that, audience, I think if you're open to Samsung just has the better product this year.
I mean, as a Pixel owner, as my primary phone, I would say that, and I know I'm speaking with a bit of privilege here because as a journalist, I get the stuff for free to play with, but you'd be better off, in my opinion, getting a Pixel 10 Pro XL, a Pixel 10 Pro as your main phone and a Z Fold 7.
Yeah.
Like 2 phones. Because honestly, it's a better experience. I think having used them all the Pixels, since day one, since the Nexus 1.
Same.
I was gung-ho that I was going to switch over to Pixel 9 Pro Fold last year. I was like, finally a Pixel that folds. I don't have to have two phones anymore. Nope, not happening. Yeah. I'm now on a Oppo Find N5. Not today because I got this to review for a few days. And a Pixel 10 Pro XL.
Right.
I can't have one phone because both of them satisfy completely different needs for me.
Absolutely.
The Pixel experience and the camera for the Pixel. And that's why it's my daily. And then if I want to be productive, I wrote half of my review on this phone on the flight in.
Yes.
Like literally just like opened it up.
That's amazing.
In Google Docs.
And it's productivity.
Like I used to want a laptop on a plane. And of course, when I'm in business class, no problem. I use my laptop every time. But now, because half the time I fly in economy, especially within North America, I just use my folding phone to do my work. It's so productive. But I can't do that on a non-folding device. I need that screen real estate. I need that multitasking.
You know what I'm waiting for? Because I agree with you. It's a productivity powerhouse when you have a fold. I'm waiting for the Pixel Fold form factor and the iPhone to come together and give me iOS on a foldable phone, give me iMessages, give me FaceTime, give me continuity between my Mac and my iPhone, and then the iPhone Fold is, I mean, it's coming next year, hopefully.
Not gonna lie, but my iPhone experience with the 17s, I've got, the regular 17 and the 17 Pro Max, just recording this video right now. And I have the Air as well. And I have to say, these are the first iPhones that made me think of switching. They're that good.
They are very good.
They're radically improved. Now, I have issues with iOS still. And it's not so much the liquid glass for me. Like, yeah, that's flawed, but I can live with it. It's more like, I feel there's so like the lack of back gesture. Oh my God. It's just like, it drives me nuts. And then the little things like, when you hit the back button on some text, how it speeds up after a while. Like, no. I need to be able to predict roughly when it's and otherwise it's going to delete my entire paragraph. Bad. I'm not used to those things. It's just like same with copy and pasting. I find it's really cumbersome on the iPhone, whereas on Android, it's really easy for me, but that's because I use Android more.
Right. That's the muscle memory.
It's muscle memory. So, but if they make a folding phone and it's super sexy and it's as good as the iPhones were this year, I will have two phones in my pocket again.
Yeah.
But my folding phone might be an iPhone.
I want to write an article on the shortcut that is, this is the last iPhone Pro that I will ever buy, which is shocking because I get one every year.
There's a big if and caveat for me.
Yes.
Well, not for me, but for you probably more than for me, because I will still have a Pixel in my pocket, which has incredible cameras. Can they make the cameras as good? Because the Air has an excellent main camera, but it only has one.
Right.
And I'm worried that Apple's going to say, look, we made the thinnest, most sexy folding phones with no crease. It's only 2 millimeters thin, and we have no port because we couldn't put it in. And because of that, we have wireless charging and all that. But we only have one camera. Like something like that. Right. I know they're not going to do that on a productivity device.
Yeah.
I would assume that it's going to be a bit of a downgrade over the Pro, but I kind of don't want them to make that compromise.
I know. I want it all. And that's been one of the main problems with foldable phones.
The Chinese phones have no compromise on the camera.
I know.
But, Pixel obviously still does compared to the 10 Pro XL. And of course, the Z Fold 7, I think, is the main sensor, again, is amazing. The ultra wide is fine, but then the telephoto might as well not exist. If you compare the Z Fold 7, I wrote that in my review, to the S25 Edge, and you do a 10x telephoto shot, there's no telephoto on the Edge, and there's no difference in quality. It's like, why? It's a vestigial camera. Like, it's a sticker cam. It might as well not exist. You put a camera in there as a telephoto because you made a $2,000 phone and you had to justify it.
Yes.
Because you're not using it. You get the 200 megapixel sensor is so good you don't need it.
It's true.
3x 10 megapixel telephoto, please.
It's true. It's going to come down to, and I'll go back to a story from LG when I went to go visit LG, and a lot of tech journalists were sitting around, and we were sitting next to the camera head, the head of cameras at LG, and he was kind of quiet. And our friend Daniel Bader asked him a question: why is your sensor so much smaller than Samsung's? It's like every year, year after year, you have a smaller sensor than your main competition. You're one of the big mobile makers at the time. It's like 2016, 2017, and the guy sheepishly said, design team won, right? Because it's a constant battle between the design team and the camera team and all the other components of they want the biggest camera in there. And the design team wants the thinnest phone. And to LG, I guess their executives and their corporate heads said, you know what? We want a thin phone. That's the mandate. So it's going to be, what does Apple do? Do they go with that more sleek form factor because that's what's sexy, that's what's out there?
Yeah.
They may do that, and it may compromise the cameras. It may not. So it depends on which team wins that argument of, no, this is what needs to be in a fold. So I always look back to that conversation and notice that the teams are constantly clashing.
I don't mind compromises, but I feel like this camera system on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold and the 9 Pro Fold, since it's identical, is back last year was already too much of a compromise compared to the Pros. A little, I'll give you an example. Oppo Find N5. It's not a Find X8 Pro in terms of camera. Let's be real. But it's very close. The only compromise they made is they went down on the ultra wide from the Find N3, which was the Open, the OnePlus Open, had a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and they went down to an 8 megapixel on the Find N5. But it's an ultra wide. And the color science and all that stuff is still the same. So it looks okay. It's just not as good, but you can live with it. That's the kind of compromise I'm willing to accept. The telephoto is still amazing, right? So the telephoto, I think, is the challenging part because that takes up space. And so I don't mind if you kind of maybe compromise on the ultra wide a little bit, but the telephoto on a almost $2,000 phone, it needs to deliver. And this is why I was so upset with the Z Fold 7 not doing that.
Yeah.
But the Magic V5 is a perfect example. Triple, double-digit megapixel cameras on the back.
Right. I also want a 1-inch sensor in a lot more US phones or any US phone.
But here's the thing, the 1-inch sensors are going away from the Chinese phones.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because the problem they're running with, first of all, it makes the phones too thick.
Sure.
And then you get all these optical aberrations at the edges. So that what they're actually working on is better low light on slightly smaller sensors. Instead of 1 inch, it's one over 1.5.
Okay,
or
right.
1 over 1.75. So it's a little smaller, the pixel's a little small, but somehow the technology is evolving and they gather actually more light than a 1-inch sensor could a year and a half ago. And so now they can make the Z depth, more narrow, put the lenses closer to the sensor.
Sure.
And this is paying off.
Yeah. I have great fond memories of my Sony RX100, 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, something like that.
Such a great camera.
Such a great camera. I used to take that, and everybody used to have, 10 years ago, way worse smartphone camera at the bar, and I would pull out this tiny compact camera. It's, snug in the pocket, but it still worked. And people would be like, can you send me that photo?
I know.
That was a great photo. That 1-inch sensor really just was
I
the
had
best.
a Canon PowerShot S95.
Yes, the other side of it, yeah.
And I never got the RX100s, but I had the ZV-1 to review for a while, which is
That's
based
a great
on
one
the
too,
RX100.
yes.
Anyway, that was the original vlogging, TikTok, Instagram, influencer cam.
Flip out screen or flip up
It was
screen,
great.
yeah.
It was great, honestly. And it's evolved. I think they're at Mark 29 now or something.
Yeah. It's
But speaking of Chinese phones evolving, and we're going to talk about that with Realme, Oppo is rumored for the Find X9 Pro, and we've seen Vivo do it, and we've seen Xiaomi do it on their Ultra phones this year to go 200 megapixels on the telephoto, because they're not putting two 50 megapixel telephones anymore, like a 3X and a 6X like they were doing. They're just doing one massive, the mother of all telephotos, 200 megapixels,
Smart.
and then we crop. And that's actually a pretty good approach. Like the iPhone 17 Pro Max does
Yes.
that. The 8X is a crop, but it's a really good crop.
Right.
And the quality is really solid, better than before.
and they still define it as optical.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's Apple, that's wording. But we know better. 8 lenses, Apple. No. But the point is, I think it's interesting how for a while that 1-inch sensor was the holy grail, but I think they're stepping away from that. And also they're stepping away from variable aperture. A lot of their phones are dropping variable aperture. The only ones that's holding on to variable aperture right now is Huawei, which is forbidden fruit for us.
Yeah. I haven't had a Huawei phone in a while.
Oh man, there's some of the stuff they're making, like that folding laptop thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're trifold.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huawei, we love you. We're probably going to go to jail for that now. Watch out. The secret police is coming.
But they're making the cutting edge technology. We'll see in like 2 years. It's already been a couple years, so probably 5 years total in the US.
Yeah.
And they're much more experimental and willing to put it out there. I'm hoping Samsung very soon has trifold. That is the rumor.
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
So, Pixel 10 Pro Fold, 4 out of 5 for me, but get a Z Fold 7. Get a Z Fold 7. Look, I know the software experience not quite be the same. In some ways, I think the telephoto is better on here, even though it's like on specs not that great. It's because it got the imaging pipeline from Google. If you need a better telephoto, this is another reason to get this phone. But the G5, man, the performance on this, it's fine, but it's so not good enough.
And a lot of it is...
Now that we have the 8 Elite Gen 5 coming,
yes,
and we've seen what Apple's done with an A19 Pro, look, I'm not talking, benchmarks don't matter that much to me, but when you actually look at the benchmarks and you see the difference, you're like, they're like a generation or two behind.
Right. And what people don't get is as you use it, like when it's right out of the box, you're like, oh, this is fine. But it's a year or two in where it starts to slow down and get bogged down by either software updates or stuff you load up onto the phone.
Or the apps are more demanding, simply, right? So look, I don't want you to not buy this phone, but I do think you should rethink twice. And if you can swing it, get a import a Chinese manufacturer, global phone, of course, where you have all the GMS and the bands. But I would consider that. And then the Z Fold 7, if you really need to go to a carrier store and get something on contract or whatever, because your family plan or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But this camera, yes. That's about it, really.
Yeah. No, I'm giving it the same score.
Pixel experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still great. Watch 4 real quick. I have the Watch 4. I just put it on literally 2 days ago. So far, battery life has been stellar.
Yeah.
2+ days is what it looks like for me right now. I put it on, when was it? I want to say Sunday afternoon, and I slept with it 2 nights now, and I'm at 38%.
Yeah.
Always on display on. Now, I don't work out or anything, just walk and stuff.
Right, but that's still good.
I sleep with it. So sleep tracking on, AOD on. I think it's going to be 2.5 days for me on this one.
That's great.
And it's not as good as the OnePlus Watch 3 for the same use case, but definitely better than the Galaxy Watch Ultra.
Right. And you're wearing the bigger size of the two sizes,
yes.
Which it's the same size, but the watch face, there's less bezel.
There's less bezel.
Which I really like.
It looks even more polished.
It does.
And I have to say it's very sexy. It's not, I still prefer a chunkier watch with a real, like the titanium bezel for me is really great on the OnePlus Watch 3 because I tend to scrape my watch on walls.
Yep.
And so far I have to say last year's Pixel Watch 3 did really well on the scratching. Like it did not scratch easily. And I'm sure this is even better. But I like the idea that I have that little protective ring and it's not a case or something. But I love the new charging dock with the contacts on the side and the charging speeds are much improved. That's the other thing I noticed.
That's really important. Part of me hates that they change it every year, or there was 1 year, right?
Pretty much has been like that.
It's almost been every single iteration. And this is the 4th, because you don't have that backup, right? But I'd rather them just go with better technology. I'll buy an extra charger if I have to.
I want to call out our good friend Narav, who always forgets his OnePlus Watch charger, and I always have to lend it to him when I'm in New York City. Okay, I don't know what it is.
Oh, he's calling right now.
Yeah. So Watch 4. Literally 2 days for me. That's all I can tell you. It's great. If you are coming from a Watch 1 or Watch 2, 100%. If you're coming from Watch 3, it's a harder sell, I think.
because the form factor hasn't changed.
Not too
that
much. I mean, now you know the bigger size was a big improvement for me. I never actually went and I got a review unit of the Watch 2. I never wore it simply because the Watch 1 looked like I've got big wrists and it looked stupid on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want that again. Even though I'm sure it's much better. And also I didn't like the fact that, you know, I do like wireless charging given the choice, but this side charging thing, I'm into that.
Little tabletop charging.
Cool.
It's great.
Also, you don't have to worry as much about you know, oxidation of the contacts. It's not in contact with your skin and your sweat.
Smart.
I mean, that's been resolved. Like we've had enough wearables that have pogo pins now but it is an issue for some people.
Yeah.
Especially in warm climates, especially if you have like more acidic sweat and it does damage the pogo pins and the contacts. And
I did not know that.
And then you get bad connections when you try to charge and stuff.
Right. It just wears out.
Yeah,
quicker.
it wears out. So let's talk about the Google's, all the home stuff, the Amazon. So what's your take on this Google Gemini for Home? I'm not quite clear. Like, okay, is it just Gemini replacing the Assistant in the Google Home devices that already exist, or do you need to buy these new devices to get that?
You need to buy the new devices, but the Assistant is basically going goodbye, right?
Well, that happened on our watch.
You're right. So it's like the last breath of Google Assistant.
But it's a massive improvement.
Yeah.
Right? Having Gemini on a smartwatch, guys, is magical.
It's
like, in that sense, I'm really excited about getting Gemini for Home.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's annoying that they wouldn't support the old devices for that.
Yeah, I don't think it's rolling out to the old devices. I could be wrong, but they're already transitioning those devices, a lot of them, from being on Nest, the Nest platform, to Google Home, and now Google Home, instead of Assistant, it's going to have Gemini. I have and regularly use Google like wired cameras in my home and my parents' home, and they're pretty great. They don't support them enough compared to a lot of the third parties, but a lot of third parties, have their issues as well. So I wish Google would do a better job. And they were actually, the second generation version for their wired camera was not even on sale anymore. All right. So I'm like, are they exiting the market? And it's because they were coming out with this Gemini.
I had an original drop cam.
Yes.
And they mailed me, essentially emailed me a coupon to buy for free, replace it with a new Nest cam.
Oh, that's like
nice. 2 years ago or something.
That's smart.
And that's great. I'm hoping they can do that with some of my various Google Home speakers, the cheap ones that I have, the mini ones, whatever. Because I use them, and I want the Gemini. But also, part of me is like, the AI apocalypse is upon us. Especially now that Sora exists, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Did you see that Casey Neistat video?
I did. No, he always does a great job.
I think that I'm not going to swear because Apple Podcast doesn't like it. But man, we are so screwed. And I'm worried about that coming to our homes in a way.
And like we're promised, AI could cure cancer. And instead it's, here's some memes starring ripped off content from Mario. And, so like that's what AI is doing. I think, AI does a lot of good stuff. This is,
I mean, I use AI and it is a useful tool. Like all technology, it can be used for good and bad.
Yes.
I think it's still in the very early stage, but I feel like a lot of bad has happened to get to use the good of AI, like the scraping of artist content without giving them credit and money, and all that has been pretty terrible. And, Sora does use all of that. All the YouTube videos of all our creators have been assimilated to make Sora do its thing. And this timeline we live in between the secret police out there and, AI taking over our homes. I'm, as I was joking to you before we started the podcast, I'm kind of hoping that halfway through the year or 2 years from now, Google forgets that it has Gemini for Home and abandons it.
It definitely could, knowing its track record.
But at the same time, I'm excited to have Gemini for Home in the sense that having the Gemini Assistant is much more useful.
And calling up things like, it's not quite a Google Home product, but Reolink is kind of doing the same thing. It's that's a manufacturer of cameras and stuff like that. Same idea as what Google's now implementing is you could be like, show me the outdoor camera when someone passed by with a red hat, a blue hat, anything, right? And it can nail it down. Yeah. And I saw that at Reolink and I was like, why doesn't Google have this? And of course, a couple weeks later, They do.
And frankly, having used, Nest and Dropcam before that, it's such a hassle when you have to look at a security event.
Yes.
Still, and so being able to find stuff, that's a perfect use case for AI.
Right. That's where AI actually is good. Good AI, bad AI.
And also it's going to train the AI. All these cameras out there training the AI 24/7. Come on.
Right.
You're giving your life away. It's great. No, I'm just kidding. But, I'm excited to be frank about, I'm not a big fan of Walmart as a company, but those $23 cameras that are compatible that they're going to be selling, I need to buy 12 of those. Like $23? Are you kidding me? Like, I don't feel like buying, that's the thing that's held me back from fully going Nest.
Yes.
Because I still have a Ring doorbell. I have such a weird, it's like review unit conglomerate of home automation stuff, right? And it's all different ecosystems. I honestly am such a Pixel user and Google user for my business and everything, workspace, that I kind of should really go full Nest or full Google Home.
It's gotten better, especially when they
spend
switch.
Those prices, like when you see the price of a freaking Nest Cam or Google Cam, you're like,
yeah, the wired camera is $99. I just spent.
That's too much. 23, 25, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then Amazon has a whole bunch of new Echo devices. Again, are they new because they're just one of the X new generation of it, or is it
better
for
resolution
AI? I know the screens are better, but
there's upscaling. For the cameras or the
the Echo speakers.
The Echo speakers.
Are they, they do AI? Do they have their AI?
So they have Alexa Plus is the big thing they're touting.
Is that free?
That is a premium feature.
See, that's Amazon should do that.
Or wait, no. So it is a premium feature, but it comes with Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
But my guess, and a lot of the comments, especially when I attended a prior Alexa Plus launch event a couple months ago, before this hardware event that they had, I bet Max Weinbach, we have a bet going on, that by June of next year, this will increase the price of Prime. Because a lot of the comments said, this is fine, it's free, but I don't want this, so therefore it's going to jack up the price of Prime within the next 12 months. So me and Max Weinbach have this bet, I think it's $100, that the Prime will increase in price within 12 months of that launch event. I think there's a good chance that's going to happen anyway, just because of the state of the, everything. But I don't know that people are, wanting Alexa Plus necessarily. It does some cool things. The demo they keep showing us is go to the movie Moneyball in the where the character hits the home run, and it'll scroll scrub to exactly that point. And it's indexing. They don't have, it's not up to like hundreds of thousands, but in the thousands of movies and movie scenes, right? And they're adding to that collection. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool. Just like you're like, oh, go to this song. It's like, go to this part of the song or go to this part of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a cool thing that they're doing. I don't know if people are necessarily going to pay for it, but they'll pay for it with Amazon Prime.
I mean, we'll pay for it on Netflix eventually.
That is true, right? Like, go to your favorite scene. Sometimes you're just like, I want to see that scene in the middle of Office Space. So
the printer destruction scene.
Yeah. PC load letter. Go to that scene, and you get to watch it almost like instead of going to a clip on YouTube where there's no monetization or very little monetization because usually someone uploaded it. You have to log into Netflix or wherever that movie is based. Yeah. So that. I think it's a smart strategy. And
you're training the AI again. And Hollywood studios, are you accepting that they're training the AI on your content? I guess, I don't know. Anyway, that's a good
I own Office Space on Amazon. All of a sudden, it would know if they take that data, oh, these are popular clips, and segment them out. So,
and then
kind of push
they
them.
Turn them into TikTok Reels.
There you go.
Logically, because everything is digestible in 30 seconds now.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this timeline. It's not getting better, guys. Kindle?
Yeah, Kindle Color Soft. So it's the Scribe version. They already came out with like a color screen. But
yeah, that was
this
last
is
year.
This one is the Scribe Color Soft.
It's got a
and
pen stylus thing.
It does.
It's bigger too, right?
I think it's thinner is the thing they're touting.
Ooh,
right.
Thin?
Like was it 5.6 or that was the iPhone or something? It's around that, but it's good. I think I own a Kindle Scribe. I like it. It's a little expensive. It's $629. Yeah, for something that
I mean, if you take notes, and I know some of you use the Remarkable tablet and stuff, like I get it. Like
Same
you're a
price.
note taker, like Rebecca Isaacs, I'm looking at you. But for me, no way I'm spending that kind of money.
It's expensive.
That's why I have a folding phone.
Yeah.
Well, this one does not support pen input though. Wah, wah, wah. Not that I use pen input, but for those of you, that's what, every time I talk to like hardcore note, like Samsung Galaxy Note people, like S Pen people, they're really pissed about the Z Fold 7.
I can imagine.
But here's the thing, Oppo Find N5, Magic V5, they both have pen input. Hello. So you can make a phone that's thin, you know, Samsung, who's made excuses, next year.
Yeah, them getting rid of that digitizer.
It's got to come back. It's got to come back on the Z Fold because that's their flagship.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect use case for
Make a variant of that. That'd be nice. But yeah, the Scribe, it's a little expensive for the fact that it's not as colorful as an iPad. But the iPad doesn't have that like e-paper like display where it feels like you're writing directly on it for that price. So you're to get that, you have to get an iPad Pro, and that's you know over the $1,000 mark at that point. So it has its fans, but I think it's a little too expensive.
Yeah. But I mean, it'll come down in price, I hope. Like, I think the technology is, it's probably really hard to make a digitizer on this super specialized color e-ink. I like that, I like that Amazon still corners that entire thing.
They do.
Like, it's incredible to me that they have no competition, virtually, right? Like, for a little while, they did. Remember Barnes & Noble, like the Nook?
The Nook,
I have one still.
Yeah.
I think it hasn't expanded yet. Maybe
That's good.
It has. I don't know. I have to look in my drawer and make sure the house doesn't light on fire any second. But look, I think it's, in that sense, like, I've never been a Kindle person, but I admire those of you, like the person next to me on the plane yesterday, who literally read for the entire flight on their Kindle. Amazing. And I was like, I get it, but I don't think, again, this is what I read on. Sorry, multi-purpose device right here.
The technology for the Kindle is great, especially with things like Whisper Sync, where you're reading and listening to Audible at the same time. And like, I could see myself doing that on a plane and kind of like falling asleep to a book. But it's a specialized market and it's a little pricey, but you know who you are if you want that device.
Exactly. Let's talk about your experience using the Meta Ray-Ban display.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I have kind of a hot take on that.
Hot take coming up, fire!
So Meta Ray-Ban display, I went to, like, as soon as it got announced, I went on to the website and LensCrafters had an appointment. So I booked an appointment and I made sure it was a week.
This is for a demo, right?
This is for demo.
This is not to buy necessarily?
You could buy it.
To explore.
Yeah, you could buy it from LensCrafters. That's their partner, their big partner for getting prescription and non-prescription versions of Meta glasses. And
how much is this prescription on top of the $799?
So they said it was $100 more.
Okay, but that's for a basic prescription.
That's for
if you want progressives or something.
So I mean, I bought Meta Ray-Ban Gen 1 now, as they're calling it, glasses. And
sucker.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
I mean, we're early adopters.
I know. I got it like a year ago and I was like, okay, it's this price. They say $299 more with a prescription. And then they have all the add-ons. So you're going to go through that with Meta.
It's going to be $1,000.
Yeah, 100%. And so I got the demo and I liked the technology. I just think it's a little more finicky than what a lot of people are saying.
Again, it's first gen. I think, look, for me, both the magically awesome thing and the thing that I think is the biggest hurdle here is the band.
Yes.
Like, I think that the price of the glass is reasonable. As I said in last week's podcast, my frames, these that I'm wearing right now, were like $400. Plus, add my prescription to that. I always buy crazy $400 to $500 frames for some reason, and there's no electronics in them. Yeah. $799 seems pretty reasonable to me for a thing that advanced.
Right.
But it's the band. The fact that now you have a separate thing to charge, and you have to wear this thing, and it doesn't even track your health and fitness and sleep.
Doesn't have a watch face on there.
I don't care about that because now I have a display, right?
True.
But imagine if it was a Whoop band at the same time.
Gotcha.
Like,
Yeah.
Kind of like, it doesn't have to be specifically Whoop. Like, I don't need that level of data. My name is not Max Weinbach. Max, I love you. But like, seriously, I think that's a miss. How did, like, at that price, like, how much harder could it have been?
Right.
And then the fact that I like, it's magical that you can do stuff behind your back. But at the same time, so cumbersome, so first gen to have a second thing to deal with.
To the point where a lot of the controls were just not working for me.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, this is, if it works like that, I had a half hour with it. If it worked like that, I would be returning that device. They didn't have it in my size for the band. So
that's why.
I was like, okay, they had it for demo.
For the demo, okay.
But not for purchase. So I was like, if I bought this, I might be returning this, and I didn't buy it. But like the technology and the idea behind it and what's going in there is amazing. My favorite feature was having maps right in my eyesight, and I could still see everything. I could still pay attention to the person I was talking to for the demo, but I didn't have to, get lost. And like, I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to navigate away." I made the joke to the woman because like this is very expensive technology. They only have, a couple samples. I said, "Oh, okay, I'll be right back." And I was going to follow the directions. And she was like, "Uh-oh." But yeah.
And so were they able to accommodate your prescription then?
No, but I had such a low prescription that I was still able to get like the full
So you
demo.
you can't get a demo if you need a prescription then? Or do they have?
Yeah, I mean, you would just not have the full experience of being able to see beyond the display.
That's pretty important.
Yeah, yeah. But you're mostly sitting there, and they're just walking you through like the settings. And
you listened to last week's podcast. I still think that they should have done some pop-up store like Samsung does, like something like super exclusive Meta Ray-Ban, woo! Because like this is LensCrafter's fine. That makes sense.
It's a big partner.
Best Buy.
They have a Best Buy. Yeah,
but Best Buy, as Rob said, it's kind of janky to go to a Best Buy for this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's going to improve, and it's nice to see that for its first gen products, only $799. I think it's actually very reasonable compared to like Vision Pro's price and stuff.
Yeah, you have to think they're taking a loss a little bit on some of that technology.
I'm sure it's a loss.
Yeah,
but I think Apple's obviously working on something. I'm hoping that Meta smartens up and makes this. If they have to have the neural whatever band thing, make that an Apple Watch band.
Very good idea.
Or just a generic watch band that can be attached with any lug type watch. That way it also works with Apple Watch if you have the right adapter.
Right, because I'm not going to be wearing two bands.
Because then, some people have, I'm not even talking about people who have a smartwatch at this point. I'm just talking about like you have a watch and you wear this thing and put sensors in it so that we can at least track our sleep and our activity. I'm not talking about the advanced stuff that Whoops does, but like just basic stuff.
Yeah.
And then you can justify it, I think.
I think so.
Gen 2.
There's going to be a lot of changes.
Don't buy one.
There's going to be a lot of changes.
Gen 2 next year. $599. Watch band.
Yeah.
With sleep tracking. Coming to a Meta pop-up next door to you.
I like it.
Meta, pay attention. Okay?
I think Apple could do it a whole lot better because they're
Apple stores.
These things are thick too. They're thicker than the more stylish but still kind of thick Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
Yeah.
So and it comes with the territory of having that technology. But if Apple, it's almost an opportunity for Apple, even though it feels like they're behind and they paid attention to maybe something that's a little too more complex, which is the Vision Pro. If they take the ideas they had for Vision Pro and that perfect technology that actually works and apply it to a very stylish set of sunglasses and eyeglasses, that could kind of leapfrog what Meta is doing and has put out there and what is very popular right now. So, yeah.
Stay tuned. Right. We've got a few rapid fire news items I want to go through. Rumors again that the next generation Pixel will get a MediaTek modem. Like we had that rumor for the Pixel 10, it didn't materialize. I totally believe that.
Yeah.
I totally believe that. It would make sense because MediaTek, that'd be a big win for MediaTek.
It would be.
And disclosure, they're a sponsor. I'm pretty fond of them, but I'm also pretty fond of Qualcomm. I don't take sides. The point is that I think this one resonates with me because we've heard it before, and it possibly was for the next gen. And hopefully G6, which will be their full first in-house chip, completely out of non-Exynos stuff because of the non-Samsung modem attachment, could make that possible.
Yeah, and MediaTek has been doing a lot better than, when I was at Tech Radar reviewing phones that would have MediaTek in there, and you'd be like, oh, this is not going to be a good phone. MediaTek has just come out of
it's
nowhere
solid.
with their Dimensity chips and the latest generation. So having a MediaTek modem these days, it wouldn't surprise me if they were kind of experimenting with that, and now the next version we might see a MediaTek modem.
Before we wrap up, I'll drop a couple of links in the show notes. Ongoing rumors and leaks about the OnePlus 15 and Realme GT8 Pro, which, as you know, are kind of like twins, like always every year, alongside the Oppo Find X series. But the Find X series is with Dimensity, whereas the other two are always Qualcomm Snapdragon. So, the Realme looks like it actually might be higher end than the OnePlus for the first time.
Yeah.
Realme has always been more of a budget, like it's kind of like the new OnePlus in a way. I feel like Realme represents what OnePlus was originally. Same OS as, essentially Oxygen OS on OnePlus and Oppo's Color OS, but called Realme UI. And then the hardware is essentially parts binning from the other two, right? But this year, they're getting a this is a rumor, 200 megapixel telephoto, like the big boy Ultras from Vivo and Xiaomi. And we know the OnePlus 15 is not going to get that. It's going to get a 50 megapixel telephoto. So that's interesting to me. Last year's GT5, for some reason, Pro, I don't know, went from 5 to or was it 7? I can't remember. Anyway, last year's flagship came out around the same time as OnePlus 13, and it was almost as good as OnePlus. And just like the ultra wide was sacrificed a little bit. That's it. Everything else was as good. It even had wireless charging. That's the GT5. That's the GT7 did not have wireless charging. Anyway, the point is the last two flagship they've done, great stuff.
Yeah.
So this would be exciting to get a 200 megapixel on the GT8 Pro.
I think you're right in your analogy that they're like the old OnePlus.
They are.
They take experiments too, which I liked. LG used to do that as well.
Yeah.
But I went to an event that they did in Denmark, and they had us drop a phone in some water, cold water, and the back of it would change colors.
I have that one.
And it was such a cool idea for a design that it's like, okay, people are making mobile fun again, and they're taking risks, and I appreciate that.
I took a photo of that and put it on Instagram because at the time I was in Vancouver, and even though it's not that cold in Vancouver in the winter, it's still cold enough outside in January or February or whenever it was versus inside the coffee shop. So I was like, took a photo inside, took a photo outside, and then I put them side by side. Right. Yeah, it's cool.
They're a cool company.
I like Realme. I'm really looking forward to this phone. And I think I'm also, now that Sandstone, Darude, if that comes to the US, and I really hope it does, that color and that micro arc, whatever it's called, the finish.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that phone too.
Absolutely.
Initially, I was kind of like, oh, come on, you're doing this camera pod like the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, but rotated a bit. But then again, they did that on that OnePlus 13S or T or whatever, the mini 13 that I got to play with briefly. Spence hooked me up for a week.
Right.
But like they did that then. So it's not really a new design language, but I kind of feel like that circular thing that had the OnePlus Open and Oppo did for a while was really kind of defining of that former BBK Group brand.
Yes.
And now going to this is more like Pixel, and I'm like,
everybody's doing that module.
I don't know. This is a great camera module. Looks awesome. Yeah. Another good point for the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. I like the camera pod.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with having the thickest possible plateau, whatever you want to call it.
Plateaus in the world.
Yeah.
Mesas even.
I do like having a display on the back, which we saw.
Oh my God, the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max from Xiaomi.
I really like that because sometimes when my colleague Kevin is taking a video of me, I can see the framing of it and be like, oh, okay. Or Kevin, you didn't tell me I have something on my face. Give me some something where I don't have to watch the video after and look at something that's
And that's
wrong.
another use case for folding phones.
Yes.
And that's why we need good cameras on the back of folding phones.
I agree.
Because then you can do selfie video with a magnetic selfie stick and see yourself. It's like basically having that ZV-1 Sony pop-up screen foldy thing like on a blogging camera, right on a phone.
Absolutely.
I think this is a good place to wrap up. Do you want to tell folks where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on writing every day on theshortcut.com because you always want to take the shortcut in life, fast information about tech. And then at Matt Swider on all the platforms. So MATT SWIDER. And all the platforms except for Facebook where I'm the Matt Swider because you'll get my personal one that I reserved years ago for that vanity URL. But otherwise,
if you want the skinny, I love that you call it.
The shortcut skinny. And the word skinny is like a little bit wrapped up and, inverted a little bit. So
I love what you do.
Thank you.
Go check it out, folks. You know where to find me on the internet. I'm at Tankgirl, TNKGRL. That's my handle. It's the same as the Tankgirl, the comic book. Just drop all the vowels. You get my handle almost everywhere except for TikTok, which is my birth year afterwards, which is 69. No laughing. So I'm mostly on Blue Sky, Threads, and Insta, and of course TikTok now because I have to be because Enobong said so mostly.
Yes.
Please, if you're here for the first time, subscribe to the podcast, mobiletechpodcast.com on all the major platforms. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/mobiletechpodcast. There is some extracts from the podcast that I publish way after my Patreon get it. And there is like unboxing videos and hands-ons, that kind of stuff we're going to do at ASUS in a little bit. And then you'll find, random stuff. Just check out the YouTube channel. You know how YouTube works. Like, subscribe, click the bell, comment, all that stuff. And then finally, the Patreon, I mentioned it earlier, patreon.com/TNKGRL. If you want to get a video version of the podcast a day in advance every week for $5 a month, that's the place to go. You get a video, you get extra content most weeks because I go over time and stuff. And support me if you can. And you can also support me through our sponsor, Mint Mobile. So as you know, I'm constantly reviewing multiple phones, and while that's fun, it also means I'm constantly spending a lot of money for wireless service on multiple SIMs. That's where Mint Mobile comes in, and that's who I'm partnering with for today's podcast. If you also want to save money on your wireless service, switch to Mint Mobile. As tech-savvy early adopters, you've probably heard of Mint Mobile before, but let me quickly tell you how awesome their service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? In my experience testing phones, Mint Mobile delivers the same data speeds and call quality as the big three for a fraction of the cost. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their eSIMs, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. No more standing around and waiting in line at a big wireless store. You can keep your current device and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM free of charge. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, lightning fast 5G, and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link mintmobile.com/mobiletech to get premium wireless starting for $15 a month. That's mintmobile.com/mobiletech. Stop paying more than you need on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile. And finally, I want to thank you again for being here in New York with me.
Thanks for having me, Miriam, and coming to visit my neck of the woods. I appreciate that.
It was great.
Yeah.
Folks, I'll have Matt on again in the future, and stay tuned. We'll have another podcast next week. Until then, cheers, everybody.